Breaking news, folks. The invasion has begun. Mexican cartels didn't just threaten America, they breached into Texas. Armed, organized, and funded by billions in trafficking, they thought that they could just carve up U.S. soil like they've done before in Mexico. But here's the shocker. This invasion is already backfiring because while the Mexican cartels move in, the world just saw Texas Governor Greg Abbott and President Donald J. Trump unleash a coordinated counterstrike that no one expected. Marines, drones, precision intel. For the first time in decades, the cartels are not running the show. They're being hunted. And so this is where the real divide begins. The media and the Democrats, they're calling it American overreach, claiming Trump has gone too far. Did Trump really go too far? Y'all let me know, but ask yourself this. Do we just sit back and let foreign terror groups build empires in Texas? Or do we stand with leaders who finally have the guts to crush them? Now, stick with me, guys, because I'm going to show you how the cartel's $13 billion empire turned Texas into their next battlefield, why Greg Abbott's critics underestimated him and how he flipped the narrative entirely, and the exact way that Trump's Marine counterstrikes could change this border war forever. Now, trust me, guys, you're going to want to hear what ordinary Mexicans themselves are saying about Trump's crackdown. That part alone is going to stun you. Now, the founders of Chapter, they lived through what too many of you are living through right now. Parents trapped in bad plans, endless bills, no one to fight for them. That's the pain that built Chapter. That is why I partner with them. Jamie from Texas saved $600 a year. That's real, guys. And Ed, at 84 years old, cut $684 a year from his medical costs. That's amazing. Real people, real money saved. Why? Because Chapter refuses to let history repeat itself. Medicare changes are already being written for next year, folks, and they're going to change these things, and several people will be shocked after it happens, and it could cost them thousands. Protect yourself now. Call the number at the bottom of your screen for yourself, for your parents, 909-563-8279, or visit them at askchapter.org/Ron. Do not wait until it's too late. Guys, America just woke up. America woke up to a headline that no one thought was possible. The cartels have officially breached into Texas communities. Not whispers, not speculation, an actual invasion on U.S. soil. This isn't a distant border skirmish. It is happening in neighborhoods where American families live, where American families work and go to school. Roads are blocked, gunfire reported, cartel safe houses uncovered just miles from the Rio Grande. Think about that, guys. The days of debating whether the border was secure are over. The invasion is already here. But this time, the White House is not ignoring it because Donald J. Trump is the president of the United States, and he's already made one thing very clear. The cartels will be treated like what they are, foreign terrorist organizations. And that designation wasn't just symbolic. It actually was rather strategic. It unlocked the full power of America's military, the Marines, the intelligence networks, to strike cartel empires at their core. Think about the scale of this, guys. In 2024 alone, cartels made more than $13 billion smuggling humans into the United States. $13 billion. That's a lot of money. Not even from drugs, but from human trafficking. That's how deep the reach is. And so now they're expanding way beyond Mexico. Cartels, operatives, they've been caught in Texas towns embedding themselves into American communities. They aren't just satisfied running border crossings. They want influence in your neighborhoods, in your backyards, and yes, even in your legislature. So here's the tension point, okay? And no one can escape this. Ordinary American citizens, we're now facing what our leaders formally admitted. These aren't gangs. These are terror groups operating on U.S. soil. But here's the real kicker, guys. While Trump is treating this like the war that it is, Mexico's leadership is playing a double game, denying the reality while quietly enabling the cartel's power. And at the very same time, Governor Greg Abbott is under fire at home. He's accused of worrying more about political maps than about cartel breaches. Now, y'all let me know what you think on that one, but stick with me because what Mexico's president just said is going to leave you stunned, and Greg Abbott's critics, well, they're about to find out why underestimating him was the wrong move. Now, let me go ahead and stop right here. And I want to hit you with some straight talk, because this isn't just about cartels crossing into Texas, guys. This is about you. Think back. What is something that you lost because of weak leaders? Maybe it was safety in your own neighborhood, in your subdivision, maybe in your city. Maybe it was your job. Did your job get shipped overseas? Maybe it was savings being wiped out by inflation. That's the hurt, guys. That's the piece of your life that you were robbed of. Now, type it in the comments down below, because your story absolutely matters. But now, look at right now, okay? What's the thing that you're holding on to the tightest at the moment? Is it your paycheck? Is it your kid's safety? Is it your freedom to live without fear? Drop one word in the chat right now. Paycheck, kids, or freedom. I want to see what matters most to real patriot Americans tonight. And of course, we need to also think about tomorrow, because imagine Trump's Counterstrike crushing these cartels. Imagine that, right? Imagine Greg Abbott refusing to back down. What does the future look like for you? Is it being able to walk your street without fear? Is it retiring with dignity? Is it, handing your kids a country stronger than the one that you grew up in? Write your vision in the comments down below, because this is the fight we're in right now. You see, what was taken from you, what you're holding on to now, and what you're still fighting for, these are clues. And they tell the whole story for why this invasion backfired. Because the cartels, the corrupt leaders, the media spin, none of them can give that back to you. But America First leadership certainly can. And so while Texas is staring down these cartel gunmen, I want to talk about Mexico. Because instead of standing shoulder to shoulder with America in order to fight these terrorists, Mexico's leadership, they're playing both sides of the coin here. President Claudia Sheinbaum just defended Venezuela's dictator. Yes, the same Maduro regime that was tied to cartel networks and narco trafficking. Yeah, and she insists Mexico's not a part of any kind of criminal empire. Oh, really? Okay. So when cartels are operating openly inside Mexico, making billions of dollars off smuggling and terrorizing citizens who live under their control, that denial doesn't just sound weak. It almost sounds complicit. So here's the ugly truth, guys. Mexico benefits when migrants pour into the United States. Once somebody crosses the border into California or New York, they're no longer Mexico's responsibility. They're no longer Mexico's problem. Sanctuary states, they hand out free health care, shield illegal immigrants from ICE, and they push the cost onto American taxpayers. Mexico, they get to wash its hands free. The cartels get rich and America gets stuck with the bill. And why can't Mexico stop the cartels themselves? Well, that's a good question you have, because cartels have infested every level of their government: police, military, judges, you name it. So it's corruption on a scale that most Americans probably can't even imagine. This is why the so-called crackdowns never work, because the foxes are running the hen house. So the question has to be asked: Is Mexico protecting its people or protecting cartels? So now I want to bring it back home, because while Mexico's dodging responsibility, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he's taking fire of his own. Critics blasted him, accusing Abbott of focusing more on redistricting lines, redistricting battles that are on than focusing on the cartel incursions. Now on live TV, he defended the maps, saying that they were about giving minorities, Hispanics, and African Americans a greater voice. His opponents pounced, saying it was all about securing Republican seats in Congress. But here's what the media didn't want you to hear. Abbott pushed back smartly. He reminded everyone that blue states like Illinois, California, and New York have been gerrymandering for years. And he made it crystal clear: Texas will not be bullied into silence. So if Democrats want to go ahead and play hardball, well, Texas can play harder. Anybody watching the show from Texas tonight, if you are, drop a quick comment, represent where you're watching from. Let me know where you're watching from in Texas. So this is where the contrast really becomes undeniable. Greg Abbott is fighting politically to protect Texans from being drowned out. Trump, he's fighting militarily to protect Texans from being wiped out. Now, one battlefield is in Washington, but the other one is in Texas and even beyond that. But the mission is the same: defend the American people. And so here's really kind of where the plot thickens, right? Because while the cartels push deeper and Mexico hides behind these excuses, the media and the Democrats, they're spinning this entire invasion as if it was like America's fault. So the question now is pretty simple. Do you believe them, or do you believe in defending your family? Now, of course, I'm going to show you exactly how the media meltdown is really setting up the perfect moment for Trump's Marine counterstrike. When you think the invasion itself should be the main story, the media does what it always does. It flips the script trying to protect the bad guys. You know, CNN, I said CNN, they're pretty much the same. CNN, MSNBC, and the progressive echo chamber, they're all parroting the same talking point. The cartels are an American-made problem. If Trump orders Marines to strike back, that's just reckless overreach. Well, think about that, guys. Armed terrorists breach Texas, and instead of asking how we defend Americans, they blame America. Instead of focusing on the families in border towns living in fear, they wag their little finger at the one president finally taking action. Interesting. So do we stay passive while cartels expand, or do we back Trump's active defense of American lives? Because we got to take a stance here. Sitting on the sidelines only benefits one group, the cartels. But Trump is not playing their game. He's moving decisively. Within hours of the breach, President Trump ordered Marines, drones, and precision surveillance to map out the cartel strongholds. U.S. intel now knows exactly where these terrorists are, where they're storing weapons, running the human smuggling operations, and even stealing crude oil for black market sales. This is huge. This isn't about endless wars. This is about precision counterstrikes, crippling cartel networks without dragging America into the quagmires of the past. You guys remember when Trump ordered the Soleimani strike? That was about eliminating an imminent threat before more Americans died. This is pretty much the exact same doctrine: swift, targeted, and justified. So here's the part that's never going to make the front page. Trump's strategy isn't just smart, it's compassionate. Every strike that cripples a cartel safe house does not just protect Americans. It also gives ordinary Mexicans a shot at living free from the shadow of a criminal empire that has ruled them for decades. So while the media is screaming overreach, Trump is proving that real leadership looks smart. It looks strategic, and it's laser focused on defending innocent people on both sides of the border. So now, here's the kicker, guys. These cartels, they ain't just drug lords anymore. They've evolved. They've grown into these full-scale empires. They're like conglomerates now, stealing oil, mining illegally, and smuggling weapons. And the more power they grab, the more they destabilize everything around them, which begs the question, who really benefits when critics try to tie Trump's hands? You need to ask that question. You know what we always say, guys? Follow the money, right? Now, I want to show you how the cartel empire has evolved way beyond drugs and why ordinary Mexicans themselves are now begging Trump to do what their own leaders will not do. So here's what the mainstream media will never admit. Cartels, they're no longer just about drugs. They've transformed into these full-scale criminal operations, criminal empires, if you will, and their operations look more and more like multinational corporations rather than gangs. Take Mexico's state-owned oil company, Pemex. Cartels are literally stealing crude oil straight out of pipelines, smuggling it across the Texas border, and then selling it on the black market. The scheme is so massive that the U.S. Treasury had to sanction 26 different entities that were tied to cartel oil theft. And it doesn't even stop there. Cartels are running illegal mining operations. They're extorting legitimate companies and smuggling weapons from Guatemala to arm their armies. Now think about the scale of that operation, right? These aren't some small-time narcos. They're global players destabilizing entire nations. And so now here's the big part, right? When progressives scream overreach, when they tell Trump to stand down, who really benefits? It ain't Americans. It's not Mexicans. The only winners are these cartel empires that thrive on chaos, corruption, and weakness. But listen to this, guys, because this is really where it gets truly heartbreaking. Ordinary Americans themselves, the very people living under the cartel rule, they're now begging Donald Trump for help. Now, most people can't even imagine that, but it's happening. One businessman from Sonora said it flat out. Once you could avoid the cartels if you kept your head down. Those days are over. Nobody escapes them now. Now think about that, guys. Citizens of Mexico admitting that they cannot count on their own government, that they're trapped, and that only Trump has the resolve to stop it. That doesn't make Trump's counterstrike aggression. It makes it a moral obligation, not just to defend American families in Texas, but to give innocent Mexicans a chance to live free in their own country free of cartel tyranny. So this is where the invasion truly backfires, because the cartels thought that breaching Texas would show strength. Instead, it just triggered Trump's decisive counterstrike, exposed Mexico's denial, and it revealed the media's hypocrisy. So I want to show you exactly how this backfire is accelerating the downfall of the cartels themselves, and why Trump and Abbott have turned chaos into opportunity. Now, here's the twist that the cartels never saw coming. Their invasion into Texas, it didn't intimidate America, it backfired in their faces. They thought breaching our border was going to give them leverage. They thought fear would keep America's leaders frozen. But instead, what happened? The breach triggered the full weight of President Trump's counterstrike. Marines deployed, drones overhead, precision intel lighting, just lighting up every cartel safe house like a bullseye. The invasion also ripped the mask off Mexico's leadership. It really showed the world that their denials, they're nothing more than the cover for corruption. And it exposed the U.S. media and the progressive politicians who would much rather blame America than admit Trump is finally doing what should have been done decades ago. So this is the backfire, guys. Cartel aggression, accelerating their own downfall. Every bullet fired across that border has only strengthened Trump and Greg Abbott's resolve. Every smear from the media only highlights the contrast between weakness and decisive leadership. So what started as cartel chaos is becoming the moment that they're dismantled. So here's where it ends. And this is also where you have to decide here, guys. On the one side, you got the cartels, the corrupt officials shielding them, and the media spinning the excuses. But on the other side, you have President Donald J. Trump and Governor Greg Abbott, smart, strategic, and patriotic, willing to do what it takes to defend American families and to give Mexicans a chance at freedom. So this is really the line in the sand. Do you stand with Trump and Greg Abbott's America First crackdown, or do you stand with the cartels and the politicians who protect them? Because the invasion backfired, Texas is standing tall, Trump's counterstrike is in motion, and history will remember who stood for America and who stood against her. And so before you go, guys, YouTube thinks you're going to love the video that just popped up on your screen. Click it now, because if today's invasion backfired, what's coming tomorrow, what's coming next, will blow the lid off of everything that we thought we knew about these cartels. Click that video right there. We'll see you guys on the other side.